Can you believe the big box retailer Office Depot is closing its downtown San Francisco location? Can you imagine? Yeah, you can. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Because we've got yet another factor here with an Office Depot that we haven't talked about a lot. All right? Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Here we go. Another big box retailer is closing its downtown San Francisco location. Wah, 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 right? I mean, so many people leave the comment, enjoy the decline. We are literally watching the decline play out in real time. You had a whole bunch of policy that makes it not so attractive to either be in downtown or operate a store in downtown. And the other thing that this article doesn't necessarily touch on is that this is an Office Depot. This is office goods store. And vacancy rate in downtown San Francisco is officially, I believe, at 33%, which is incredibly high. And it's probably in reality, the actual physical space that is emptied out is probably closer 50-60%. A lot of that stuff is on sublease. It's some combination of that. So whatever you believe the numbers are, there's not very many businesses operating in downtown San Francisco like there has been. So the demand for getting office supply goods, hey, example of that would be, my printer broke. All right. So you need one right now. What are you going to do? You're going to run down to Office Depot. Maybe you can't wait for Amazon to deliver it. And Office Depot will deliver as well. Staples will deliver, but you need one right effing now, right? So then you send your guy down, your gal down. It's not be sexist. And pick up one. Hey, get me some. Don't forget the toner. Because they always come with crappy toner, printers do. And then you got to put in the mega pack, right? And get that bad boy to go. I used to use a lot of printers, a lot of scanners in the appraisal gig. We went through all kinds of technology, digital cameras, big digital cameras. They were like $1,000 a pop at the beginning. Now you've got one on your phone and, things have changed so drastically. But Office Depot is, that's a store that people aren't necessarily consuming as many office goods in downtown core anywhere because we got that whole work from home remote thing. But San Francisco, especially because it's a tech job environment, right? You got a lot of tech bros who are, keyboard warriors and just doing stuff. But those businesses aren't in downtown San Francisco. And so that's one more factor that we'll talk about some more, but that's another for a store like Office Depot where they need these businesses to be there. Their clientele, their crowd is physically not there. And so if you're going to close a store down because you got a bunch of shoplifting going on, and we haven't even gotten into the location of this store, and I'll give you a hint. It ain't good. All right. Office Depot's 33rd 3rd Street store is permanently closing, according to signs recently posted at the building and first reported by the San Francisco Business Times. It's unclear when the store will close, and management declined San Francisco Gate's request for comment. You got a comment on the store closing? No. Why not? Because we're closing. What more do you need to know? Well, we'd like to know why you closed. Hey, the writing's on the wall, right? Before we go any further, let's just look at this one. This is 17 stores. The Home Depot or the Office Depot is somewhere right in here. This is 17 stores in the Union Square area. I mean, here's Union Square right there, right? 17 stores since I think 2021 have closed down. Office Depot, most recent. Yesterday, I podcasted on anthropology, women's clothing, some household goods kind of stuff. Popular store. But they didn't really say why they were closing, maybe a little bit of the retail apocalypse, but 17 stores in 2 years in this tight of a configuration geographically. All right. What else do you need to know? Well, so here's Union Square. Yeah, here's Union Square. Last Christmas, they had massive police presence because you had all those dash and grabs. Hey, we're going to take some high quality stuff and just, we're going to knock your window out and take your stuff and haul out of here. Organized retail theft, right? Here's the deal. Here's the Tenderloin right here. Ooh, yeah, that's not so good. So you've got an Office Depot that And the Office Depot, let's look at that. Here's 33rd 3rd Street. Here's where it's just outside of Union Square, right? Here's the Tenderloin, Union Square. Here's our Office Depot. This is in downtown. So you've got immediate external obsolescence from the Tenderloin. You've got external obsolescence. That's an appraisal term, by the way. It just means depreciation coming in from something outside that you can't control, because you can't move the location of the store. You can, but then it's a different store, right? It's not the store at 33rd 3rd Street. That's an awkward address, but whatever. Somebody gave it to it. Now, let's have some podcaster 25 years down the road from that read this address and kind of stumble over it. That's happening. So you've got multiple things going on with an Office Depot, but all you really need to know is, hey, here's the 17 straight stores that have closed down in this little area, this multi-block area. That is probably, that's about the size of Chop. That's a little bit bigger than Chop, but not much. You had 17 stores that are all pretty major stores, because to give you an example of, here we go. Anthropologie, Office Depot, Amazon Go, Arc'teryx, The Real, CB2, Banana Republic, Athleta, Container Store, Crate and Barrel, Abercrombie, list goes on. You got about another 5. Now, some of those were closed because their business model no longer works. It's kind of one of those things. But, when you're in the Tenderloin, where all bets are off, you've got open air drug markets, you've got clean injection sites. You've got the mayor declaring an emergency. You've got the governor wanting to bring in the feds, bring in the National Guard to clean up the Tenderloin. I mean, the writing's on the wall why these stores are, not making it. It's not that hard to figure out. Let's see. Can you read a map? All right. Tenderloin, a bunch of other stores closed down. Okay. And you're a business goods store. You're an office supply store, right? Office supply store. The store is located on the ground floor of an 8-story parking garage owned by the Hearst Corporation. The building also contains a California pizza kitchen. We used to have one here in Bellevue. We don't anymore. They had one pizza there that was really good. I really liked it. I can't remember what it was. Some kind of Canadian bacon deal thing-ish. I like my food international. Canada, right? Developer JMA Adventures submitted plans in 2020 to turn the parking garage where Office Depot is housed into a mixed-use high-rise. But the project appears to have lost momentum, according to the Business Times. I've podcasted on some pretty good-sized buildings going back from developers, back to the bank, back to the note holder, in both San Francisco and Portland. Yeah, and one of the things that continually comes up in the business world is the probable failure of the commercial real estate market, because we had this massive transition forced upon us during the pandemic where everybody had to work from home. Now we got to close it down 15 days to flatten the curve. That was the stupidest thing of all time. That whole thing, the whole pandemic was just, we're doing what? Why? Okay. So we rocked the way that commercial real estate is handled, because all of a sudden companies realized, okay, if you're going to force us to do this, all right, we're going to put policy and protocol in place to have everybody work from home. Oh, you guys enjoy it? Oh, and you guys are actually doing some work at home? Oh, hey now. Hey guys, cover the microphone. And they're like, we could save a crap ton of money if we didn't have to have all this commercial space over here. So maybe we get rid of most of it, keep just a little bit for meetings every now and then. And that's a lot of what you got going on. You got a lot of big businesses with space that are subleasing it out, trying to figure out what their long-term move is. Here in Seattle, where I'm from, and I kind of operate, Amazon is back to 3 days a week, right? 3 days a week. That's still 2 days out of the week, 40% of your work days, Monday and Friday. Amazon's not in the office. They're not mandating their employees come to the office. So all those businesses that are there to support an Amazon, you've got an immediate 40% lack of people walking around consuming your stuff, whatever the stuff is in your store. And in San Francisco, I don't know what the numbers look like, but What we do know is that the majority of commercial real estate lending is done by mid-tier regional banks. And those banks are having some troubles. They're having some issues. Big box of tissues for all of their issues. That's always a funny one. That's a good one. Yeah. Dad of my kids during high school and elementary said that. It's always very funny, but it's true. You got a lot of issues that are going to be coming down the pipeline. And I think we're on the forefront of seeing that happen. And a story like this is kind of an indicator. Okay, so maybe this project didn't work out. Maybe something's going sideways with the lease, but those other 17 businesses of which Office Depot is part of, or Office Max. Office Max also closed a large San Francisco location on 14th and Harrison Streets last year. Office Depot and Office Max are both owned by ODP Corporation, which merged the two companies in 2013, effectively creating the largest office supply chain in the country. I never did much at Office Max. I did a little bit. Their store locations for me were always a little bit wonky, but I bought a lot of stuff at Office Depot. At one point in time, I was probably going there couple of times a month to buy whatever. We just didn't buy all that much stuff online, right? You had better prices at Office Depot, or so it seemed, or you just wanted to be able to physically go in and check out what it is that you're going to be buying. Maybe it's a high-speed scanner or some piece of technology, a printer, some, high-speed black and white printer. I used to go through those like there was no tomorrow. I've still got a handful of them at home. You'd use them, you'd rotate them out. Well, it doesn't work on the very bottom end of the last page in whatever cycle, but other than that, it's all good. So in 2020, the corporation announced it would be starting a restructuring plan that includes a closing an indefinite number of stores through the end of 2023. And so what I always say at this point in time is, so it might be a general business decision, but it's also a general business decision in close proximity to the Tenderloin in downtown San Francisco, where you've got all kinds of nonsense going on. You've got 16 other stores that have already either closed up or have committed to closing in March and April of 2023. You got a handful, and you got some real stuff going on. And this is part of that cycle. So this is the tail end of that cycle where businesses go, no mas. No, we don't want to operate within this environment anymore. The other big one was Whole Foods, and that is just to the north of this area. And you've got a Safeway 3 blocks off of Fisherman's Wharf. So, we're talking, let's see if I can get back to that map. Yeah, here we go. I don't exactly remember. That's going to go like that. So the Whole Foods is somewhere up in here. And the Safeway is somewhere up in here. It's pretty close to Fisherman's Wharf. It's maybe here, somewhere, something close like that. You're all in this area and they're all shutting down. So you want to talk about a food desert in a major West Coast city. You're going to be seeing some of that. Now, the Whole Foods, somebody said, hey, we'll step on in. We'll take this space over if you give us enough armed security guards. Because that was the issue with the Whole Foods. Is that it just wasn't safe. I mean, and you can only, be not safe for so long. And corporate goes, the exposure here for us is not worth staying open. But for Office Depot, and you've got this long litany list. I mean, this isn't like a pizza joint. This is something that, pizza joint, you're still going to have, people still need to eat. But if you don't have businesses with people going there, you're going to eat less, but you're certainly going to consume way less in the way of office supplies. That's reality. So all of these things working against retail in San Francisco. And, we haven't even touched on the whole Proposition 47, which basically took the threshold of shoplifting where you get arrested and it's actually a crime from $450 up to $950. And then, in San Francisco, shoplifting's just off the hook, and having crazy people on drugs running around is off the hook. And, we had Bob Lee, who was he was the CEO, the tech CEO that, had his life ended in some kind of squabble with some dude's sister that he was seeing, or not sure how that one all went down. But you've got this whole narrative that San Francisco is, wildly violent, which, okay, the stats actually say that criminal activity, violent crime in San Francisco is less than Chicago, is less than Detroit, is less than a bunch of other cities, which might be true. But the sad fact in San Francisco is the vast majority of this criminal activity that's going on isn't being reported because so much of it has happened that people are tired of, making their police reports and not going anywhere. And I think people in any of these West Coast cities are openly saying, I don't report it anymore. Yeah, I had a meeting with Jonathan Cho that I've talked about, not with Jonathan specifically, but with other folks in that meeting. And his comment, we were on a boat. It was this mastermind thing. If you've heard this before, I apologize. It's duplication, but there's a point. Trust me. We're on a boat going this mastermind thing, but Jonathan has to leave because he's going to be interviewed by Fox's Tucker Carlson show, which Tucker is no longer on there, but he's going to be interviewed with Jason Rantz for this show. And I had a meeting with him, this mastermind thing that mortgage guy I've known forever, Peter Zevenbergen, put together. And so Jonathan Cho had to leave and go do this interview because he had been chased by a dude with a knife. And we were talking, off the record, just kind of talking. And he was like, I don't want to have to file a police report and go down all those things. Cops, I don't think the cops came in his case, but he gets chased around the city because he is literally walking the streets of Seattle and documenting what's going on. He's just taking video. He's walking on a public sidewalk or a public street, taking video. He gets chased by a kid with a hatchet. He gets chased by a dude with a baseball bat, and he gets chased by a guy with a knife that's threatening to kill him. It's calling him all kinds of just crazy names. Yeah. And so, we in that discussion, we're like, well, people just aren't calling the police because they get the drill. They know nothing can really be done. But that is what I believe is responsible for these, criminal numbers, and maybe the murder rate, murder. Yeah, those always kind of get accounted for because it's hard to hide those, but property theft, shoplifting from a store, the organized retail theft. I think so much of that is kind of just coming and going and nobody's reporting it. Broken windows, all that kind of stuff. People aren't reporting it because they've gotten so used to it being a part of life, a way of life in these communities, that they're just like, why would I want to spend XYZ number of hours reporting this crime when I know nothing's going to come of it? Yeah, it accurately reflects the numbers greater, but I don't want to have to sit around and, do the whole report thing and have all this stuff when nothing's going to happen. People just, move on with their lives, and especially shop owners, because shop owners are not declaring the majority of this stuff on their insurance because they can't afford to. They need to keep an insurance policy to stay in business. And if you report, like your car insurance, if you report too many wrecks, guess what happens? Yeah, you get dropped, right? So if you need an insurance policy and you've got a commercial lease, you're probably not going to report vast majority of the break-ins, of the theft, of the whatever, because don't want to lose your insurance and nothing's going to happen of it. You just kind of grin and bear it, or you do like Office Depot and you exit stage left. You just kind of, we're out of here. We're going somewhere else. We're not going to be around any longer for you guys to kick around. It's kind of what we're doing. Yeah. So this is literally the decline that we are watching in real time, not only in San Francisco that we talked about today, but in a lot of other big downtown commercial areas as well, because we've had that shift to work remote. And that's really rocked the whole commercial world. So like this story, this story that I just read to you here is, we had a proposed change with the building. We're going to tear the building down and put up this big mid-rise. But now there's so many closed up storefronts and so many projects that have been mothballed, that have been put on hold, kind of like during the Great Recession in 08, 09, 10, 11, 12. You know how many projects were mothballed or had to work their way through either foreclosure or short sale, reassignment to a new lender, completely taking the original intent for a project and reworking it into something else because the market changed. Well, the market's changed in downtown San Francisco like it has in a lot of other communities. And so you've got, maybe a change that Office Depot here had to react to. And they're like, well, not enough people buying our stuff, and the people that are coming through the door are stealing it. So, and it doesn't look like the Tenderloin's going to go away anytime soon. So we out of here. That's what Office Depot did. And then, they never want to say, unless they're like an REI or a whole REI in Portland or a Whole Foods in San Francisco, where they just say, yeah, we're out, too dangerous. We had this, and this incident. And they can point to those and they're honest about it. And they say, store safety, it's not there. We can't be in business here. You guys get your safety squared away. You get the crazy whacked out drug addicts not coming in the store, stealing stuff, all day long. Then maybe we'll talk. Maybe we'll do we'll reconvene, we'll reimagine, we'll rethink, and, we'll come up with something new. But in the meantime, yeah, you got businesses shutting down left and right. And you know what? I'll keep podcasting them right here on News for Reasonable People. Thanks for being here. Love to have you subscribe. Hit that notification bell. So when I talk about other stores closing in San Francisco or these other West Coast cities that are being impacted pretty hard, you'll get notified. Share the content with friends and family. Thanks again for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.